continuing to learn about input devices. How do humans interface with computers and get information into the computer? And right now, what we're going to look at is scanners. We're going to look at scanners. And I'm not talking about this old movie from 1981 where, there's some pretty disturbing images from this movie. People on fire. This guy's having some problems with his eyes. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. This guy is having some fireworks go off on top of his head. And this guy here has just about the worst headache ever. I think that's a headache so bad that, he's not gonna have to worry about it. He's not gonna feel anything after that. I don't know what this says about humanity that we get entertainment out of this kind of thing, or that I'm even pointing it out, or that there's a category up here called head explode. You could read about this movie from 1981, Scanners, here on IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database, which is a cool place to check out if you want to see all of like cast and crew and things like that about movies. A few ratings. And then there's also, of course, Rotten Tomatoes, which gave this a 76 to 61. So what is this? 76% of critics liked it and 61% of the audience. Then my favorite part here is right here. Sci-fi horror film refers to a group of people who have telekinetic powers that allow them to read minds, and not only that, gives them the ability to make other people's heads explode. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty amazing telekinetic power. We're talking about computer scanners, and scanners are things that allow us to take images or all kinds of stuff and scan it and then get that information into a computer. And so there are various forms of scanning and scanners out there. Right here, you're looking at flatbed scanners, and flatbed scanners are good for like scanning images or drawings. And you basically just put whatever it is you want to scan down on here, like a photocopier, and you push a little button and it scans it and then digitizes your image into the computer. You could scan text too, pages of text. And there's even sheet-fed scanners, so you could like go into Kinko's or whatever. We actually have one in our office in the business division here at City College. And just the other day, I scanned an entire article, and then I sent it to myself via email, and it converts the article into a PDF document. When you do scan text, if you ever have like a big page pile of text that you need to work with, but the text is all typed out, you could take that text to the FedEx office, used to be called Kinko's, and you could scan it and digitize it. And then there's some software called OCR software. And OCR software stands for Optical Character Recognition. And basically what it does is it takes text and turns it into editable text. So whatever I scanned in, I could then work with in Microsoft Word or something like that. So those are flatbed scanners. There are other types of scanners out there. There are handheld scanners. We already talked a little bit about the sheet-fed scanners, right? So like this one. But they're small handheld scanners if you just want to scan small things and carry it with you. This is kind of a cool thing. There are 3D scanners. And I actually met somebody one time who works for some big museum in New York, Metropolitan Museum in New York, maybe that's the name of it, I don't know. And what they did was they did 3D scanning of statues and things like that. So the museum would send them stuff, and then they would set up their device all around the object being scanned, and the 3D scanner would then create an image, three-dimensional image of whatever it was they were scanning. It would look a lot better than that when they were done. But, so that's kind of an interesting deal. They have 3D scanners that are out there. And let me close that. Yeah, so 3D scanners, good to know about. Here's some more images for 3D scanning, right? And 3D scanning of people and different objects. And even babies, when they are in the womb, we use ultrasound or something like that to get 3D images of them in the womb, which is kind of pretty crazy. So scanners. There are also biometric scanners. And biometric, so if we just break that word down for a minute, bio as in biology, so biology, and metric as in measure. So measuring biology is kind of what biometric stands for. And biometric devices allow us to measure different characteristics of people's biology. And so that might be like a thumbprint or fingerprint scanner, right, where we could scan people's fingerprints. Or there's face recognition, right, where we are doing a lot of this in Iraq and Afghanistan, creating databases of different people so we can keep track of who's who and have face recognition, computer face recognition for those that we're looking for. There are retinal scanners, right, that, apparently all of our eyeballs are different than, each other. There's scanning for security. So here's something where you'd have to type in the code and then also have your thumbprint scanned. Some computers come with thumbprint scanners. Like here's a little thumbprint scanner, probably on a USB device that you can plug in. Here's one on a keyboard right there where you could scan your thumbprint to activate your computer and unlock your computer. So those are biometric scanners. Biometric scanners, eye scanners, hand scanners for security, biometric technology. So it's a new way that we are, keeping track and a new way to have security. That looks like an interesting image right there. Not so interesting. All right. The next thing that's kind of interesting about that entire thing is we have a lot of face recognition technology going on now. And all of our faces are slightly different. And so they use computers to map certain points on the face. And then these maps are unique to certain individuals. And this is allowing a whole new level of Big Brother thing going on, whatever, right? Where it's kind of interesting because when you upload pictures to Facebook now, a lot of times they'll be like, is this person? Or it used to do that. I don't know. I'm not a big Facebook user. But it's recognizing who is who. And we even help them. We even help the system by tagging people. So, at one level, that's kind of cool because we could say, hey, show me all the pictures of me because I love looking at me. I just want to see all the pictures of me that I've taken and that other people have taken. Show me the pictures of me. Or we could say, show me all the pictures of this person or that person. And then, it helps us categorize and organize all that stuff. But at another level, it's kind of interesting because with face recognition technology, cameras could be placed all over. And then you could just be walking down the street, right? And the camera could see you, and then that could be connected to a massive system, which is then like, Todd is now in this location. And that might sound like a little bit crazy, like Big Brother, but it's actually something that's starting to play. It's starting to get play. It's starting to actually be occurring in the real world. And really places that we like to keep secure right now, I have high level of confidence that that is going on, that when you enter those places, the cameras are not only just observing and capturing what is happening, but also actively doing face scanning to see if there are any people that are of concern or something like that. There are also barcode scanners, right, which we talked about a little bit with entire automating the grocery store or any kind of store checkout process. And barcode scanners, each product gets a unique barcode, and then the scanner can read that barcode. And I'm telling you stuff you already know. But these barcode things are kind of interesting because there's all kinds of new barcodes out there, like these square barcodes. And my brother-in-law actually even created a company called Harvest Mark. And they came up with their own barcode scanner thing, which this Yada Mark, Harvest Mark, is now on a lot of produce things on the bottom. And then when you enter the thing, it'll tell you like, where did your, see there's the little mark, the Harvest Mark. It'll tell you, where did your stuff come from? And that's kind of cool. You could go to Google and you could search for a barcode scanner app. And this is a sweet thing because then you could get like, here's Gizmodo, which is a cool website for learning about tech. But you could get an app for your iPhone. And then when you're in the store, you could scan a product. You're like, oh, I'm interested in buying this, but am I getting a good deal here inside Best Buy or here inside Lowe's? You could scan the barcode and it'll tell you how much the thing costs at other stores. And so you could say, oh, I'll buy it here. It's just about the same price. Or, it's $30 more here. I'm going to go buy it online. So barcode scanner apps is awesome, and Red Laser is one of the apps that I've heard about, which rocks. So check it out, barcode scanner apps. So we learned about OCR. Traditionally, when we learn about scanners, right, three big things we learn about. which kind of have been in computer textbooks for as long as I've been teaching. And, you know, I don't know, OCR I think is really good to know about, but this is like the holy triumvirate of scanning, and I don't really see why you need to know about OMR and MICR, because it really feels like this is like technology from the 80s. It's just like hung out in textbooks since then. But OCR we already learned about, which is optical character recognition. OMR stands for optical mark recognition or optical mark reader. And OMR is what we refer to, or that's the technical term for like scantrons, right? So that's not a very big image. So once again, I'll go to search, size, large images. And here, there's a large image. There's a large image. And so an optical mark reader will read all of these little bubbles that are filled in. That's an optical mark reader, OMR. And finally, we have MICR, magnetic ink character recognition. Magnetic ink character recognition. There we go. Magnetic ink character recognition. And those funky looking numbers on the bottom of your check, and here's somebody's check if you're interested in having their bank account. Those funky looking numbers down here were designed like back in the day, like back in the 70s, like old school, hello, so that they could be read more easily by computers. And so anyhow, those are very computer looking numbers, very 60s looking actually. And it's called magnetic ink character recognition. The last thing for you to know about, which we've already mentioned in the last video, is RFID. And RFID stands for radio frequency ID, identification, radio frequency ID, right here. Radio frequency ID, RFID. And RFID is this little chip, you know, so here's somebody with an RFID implanted into their hand. So that's one of the ways you can work with RFID. We saw an RFID in a grocery store label. You know, I'm just looking to see RFID label. See what that brings us. RFID label. So here's some labels that can be like stuck on products, or that one right there, or that one right there, right? Just a little RFID beneath the paper. And so it could be embedded just beneath the label of the product or whatever. And then, you know, when you went through the grocery store checkout, it just automatically recognizes it. RFID is used in things like Fast Track up in the Bay Area. So when you go under the bridge, you could be in the Fast Track lane if you've already sent in your money and stuff, and then it just kind of deducts from your account, recognizes you are this person that just went through, and just automatically charges you. Because I mean, look at that traffic waiting to go over the Bay Bridge. So that's Fast Track. And then there's also RFID that's being stuck into doggies and kitties. They stick it into doggies and kitties, and then they could scan the doggies and kitties, and they could see who owns them. And so, you know, if your dog gets lost and the collar comes off your dog and it has a little RFID chip stuck into your dog, like right there, when the dogs get to the pound or the vet, they scan the dogs and the cats, and if they have this little chip, they're then able to find out who owns this dog and call you. So both my doggies got that tucked in beneath their skin. And you know, just along the lines of dog tracking, I put pet tracking in. There's different collars. These aren't RFID, nor is it really a scanner, but it connects with your you know, this is how it works right here: GPS, satellite, wireless network, cell phone, and it tells you where your pet is at, which is, I think, kind of cool. I like this image right here. Do you get texts from your dog? That's totally cool, man. So last thing to know about when we're talking about tracking is there's this new thing called Tile, and there's another one out there too, but you could basically connect it to anything, and then it helps you. There's a little, I think it might be RFID in there. I'm not sure what's inside, but there's a little chip in there which allows you to find whatever it is you're looking for, and it you know, tells you if you're getting close to it, and you can make a noise and sing out to you. So that's kind of an interesting thing that just recently has emerged. So we've been looking at scanners. We've been looking at scanners, and you have learned about OCR, OMR, MICR. You've learned about flatbed scanners, barcode scanners, RFID scanners, and you know, 3D scanners, and probably more that I'm not mentioning. But that, my friends, that's a little bit about scanners.